Hey guys, I'm doing a short video. I'll just put this one on with the actual story of what's going on, but I was just gonna hurry up and do this one. So the other day I posted saying that the beta was, we had a heartbeat despite the low beta, and during that ultrasound appointment I also did my blood draw, which was beta and estrogen and progesterone level, and I didn't get the results until the day after, and it said that the estrogen dropped from 2409 to 2279, I think, and at that point it wasn't that big of a deal because I did use my regular OB instead of going to Joplin to get same day results. And so usually they say they want the beta to be done at the same place just because, you know, maybe they do it differently, I don't know. But so they weren't too concerned with that, but my clinic was concerned with the drop in my estrogen. I don't know specific numbers, they didn't tell me, but they did say keep an eye on it, and and if I have bleeding then let them know. But instead of December 11th for my ultrasound, I'll actually go in December 7th, just a week early, just to make sure that everything's still good. So yeah, at this point, welcome to the emotional roller coaster of surrogacy. Okay, so see you later. So today is Monday. I actually had my ultrasound today and my blood work today because I was gonna go in Thursday, but well, my clinic said come in Monday or Tuesday, but then they sent the orders for Thursday or Wednesday, Thursday, and so I just went ahead and went in Monday. They got me in, and baby still had a heartbeat. Heartbeat was 140. They said everything looked great. I haven't received my results yet, but strong heartbeat, 140. The only thing they did say that they didn't really have an answer for was I am 7 weeks and 2 days, and the baby's still measuring 6 weeks and 1 day, give or take 4 days. So it's still a few days behind, and they said they didn't really have an answer for that, but they said everything on their end is they're not worried about it, but who knows what my clinic will say. So we'll see. So remember when I said the medicine I take isn't that much? I lied. So I have to take 5, hold on, I have the medicine right here. 5 of these pills, those are estradiol, and then 2 of the purple ones, that's progesterone lozenges. And my clinic said, oh, we've heard great reviews on them, and it's disgusting. So I did find a trick that you can actually put it under your tongue and let it just sit there for the whole time until it dissolves within like 4 or 5 minutes. It's supposed to taste like grape, but it's not the best. So I take 5, and I wish I could just take 5 of the pills all at the same time, but you can't. I have to take 1 morning, afternoon, and night, and then 2 vaginally. So I ended up doing like afternoon and then nighttime before bed, and then 2 progesterone suppositories. I usually do that like afternoon, night, and then the PIO shot, which it doesn't really hurt when you do the shot, but like it does create lumps, and like every time I try running, which isn't often because I can't work out still, so but when I do, I feel like my back, like the knots in the back and stuff, or when I sit or move at all, you feel the lumps. But yeah, I just want to come on here and touch the subject of meds, sucking. And another thing about medicine, taking medicine, because it is an all-day process, so if you do go somewhere, remember to bring your medications. I remember with my last journey, I gave myself a Lupron shot in the Bass Pro Shop parking lot. You do what you gotta do, so that's important. So I just received my results from Monday. I guess my clinic ended up sending it to the wrong fax number or something, so they just got it today. My beta number was 3050, which, you know, is low. My estrogen levels were 459, and my progesterone was 79.23. I asked for those numbers just so I could, just curiosity. But now that I have them, I have no clue what they mean. Like, I know progesterone, if it drops, it lets you know like an impending miscarriage or something. But I'm not really sure what estrogen. I think like the numbers have to be around 400 for estrogen and anything above 20 on progesterone. I'm not entirely sure, so if you guys know, it'd be great to know, so let me in on it. But yeah, so I got the email and it gave me the results and then said that they want me to do another ultrasound on the 11th or the 12th. Yeah, the 12th. And then, but I asked about restrictions because I still have a ton of restrictions. No baths, no working out, no lifting, like there's a lot. So they said that they still want to keep the restrictions in place just because it's a unique situation. They've called it unique. They've called the numbers weird. I choose to say faith, so whichever. But the only thing that changed was I'm still on the same medication, and then I will decrease my PIO from 1.5 cc's to 1 cc, so I'm sure my hip will appreciate that. But yeah, it'll be nice when I don't have to go back every single week for blood draw and ultrasounds. I'm tired of people looking at my hoo-ha on a daily basis. It was funny because when I went to my last ultrasound appointment, the nurse was like, well, we're getting to know you really well. And I said, yeah, inside and out. And she thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, it's crazy to think. I mean, if you're going to be a surrogate, you have to understand that you're going to be, like, you have to go to a ton of doctor's appointments. I mean, if you think about it, most people go to their first doctor's appointment when they find out they're pregnant at around 8 weeks. And I'll be 8 weeks tomorrow. And I've gone to like a bajillion. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, but I feel like it. Like, it's a lot. So, make sure that if you are thinking about becoming a surrogate, you actually have the time. Like, I'm blessed to be a stay-at-home mom, so I'm able to go to appointments left and right, and it's not a big deal. My kids are in all-day school, so as long as I'm back by 3:15 or so, I'm good. So, hopefully you have a flexible job if you do have a job that will let you take off work, because you definitely are going to be having to take off work. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Hey guys, so it's been a few weeks since I last updated. I think last time I left off, I was saying how I was supposed to go in for another ultrasound because the numbers were just weird or unique or whatever. And I went in December 12th, and at this point I was 8 weeks. If you remember, I think like at 5 weeks pregnant, probably a couple weeks after the transfer, with the numbers being weird, they wanted to make sure that we didn't have an ectopic pregnancy, or they were looking out for miscarriage. And so we went in for 6 weeks, and I was kind of prepared to hear the worst. And I mean, that's just how surrogacy is. It's never going to work as you plan, and you just kind of prepare yourself, like prepare yourself, what is it? Expect the worst, but wait, no, something like that. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best, or something like that. And so we kind of went in hoping that it was going to be good, and it was. At 6 weeks, we found the heartbeat. It was 110. We went in at 7 weeks, and the heartbeat was 140, but the numbers just weren't, it wasn't picking up. It was still increasing. It just wasn't increasing as it should. And so they wanted me to go in for my 8-week appointment, and I went in, and we had already beat the odds so many times. And so at this point, we're like, okay, we're not 100% in the safe, but we're just like, we're going in the right direction. And so we went in, and we found that there was no heartbeat. And the OB didn't even have to say anything. I was just looking, and I noticed that there wasn't a flicker, and he wasn't saying much. He was just kind of still looking, and normally he's like, oh, we have a heartbeat, it's blah, blah. And this time there was no flicker, and so I said something, and I was like, I don't see a flicker. And he goes, yeah, neither do I. And so he keeps looking for a couple minutes, and he's like, yeah, there's no heartbeat. So the clinic, obviously knew something was going on that just wasn't right with the HCG levels, and that's why they're having you come in so many times for the ultrasound, just to make sure everything's good. And so yeah, it was like I said, we go into this knowing that it's not always going to go your way. And even if things are going your way, things can quickly go the wrong way without notice. I had no bleeding. I still had nausea. I mean, everything was the same. Yeah, I mean, well, I say that, but at the same time, like, my nausea wasn't as bad, but that doesn't mean that I'm having a miscarriage or loss of heartbeat or something. And I was super tired. So, it was kind of just like, I was numb when he told me, because I was not expecting that. I knew, of course, like, it can happen, anytime it can happen, but we just thought we were kind of beating the odds at this point. And so, the doctor was asking if I had any questions, and yeah, I had a lot of questions, but I was so numb, the only thing I was thinking of how am I going to tell the parents that we beat the odds so many times. Like, when we first found out that it wasn't ectopic and we had a heartbeat, I mean, they were ecstatic, and they finally allowed themselves to be ecstatic, and then 2 weeks later it's crushed. So it was definitely hard. Like, my OB doctor left, and then the nurse was asking if I had any questions or how I was doing, and I broke down. But anyways, I broke down, and I mean, not full on breakdown, but I allowed myself to cry, which, I mean, I don't do, especially in front of people. But it's a weird feeling, because it's not your baby, but it's still a loss. Like, I went into this trying to help a couple to achieve their dream of having a family, and they've already been through so much, and you kind of just crush your dreams again. No, it's not your fault, and if you are in this position and you do have a miscarriage or loss of heartbeat, don't ever think it's your fault, because, unless you didn't take your medicine, that's the only thing, or if you were careless. But if you're going by the books, it's not your fault. As a surrogate, I didn't know what my role in it was. Like, if I did have a miscarriage, how I was allowed to react. So when I was researching a lot after it happened on the surrogacy Facebook groups and stuff, and everybody who goes through a miscarriage feels the way I do, so I'm normal. But it's definitely hard knowing that, we spent all this time and energy and money on this stuff, and just for it not to work. So, yeah. And the nurse asked if I was gonna have to tell the parents, and I said no. But after a while, I started thinking about it, and it's like, well, I don't want them knowing that I know this, and then them just going about their day, and then they get a phone call from their clinic or the agency to tell them the news. And so I ended up texting the intended dad, and he got back with me later that day, and we talked. And like I said, our motto is expect the worst but hope for the best, and it just sucks because we thought we were beating the odds, but I mean, numbers don't lie, I guess. But so we had a discussion and thought a D&C would be best. First off, because natural miscarriage, that just scares me. Like, I don't want to see all that stuff, and you never know. Like, you could be out with a friend at lunch or something, or at dinner with your family, and it happens right there. And there's tons of cramping, and you might need a D&C afterwards. And so we decided to do a D&C on December 18th, and so it's been a couple weeks since then. But it just sucks. Like, now we have to do the whole thing over again. I don't know the plans 100% of what's going to happen, but I do know that I think they want me to have 2 periods after my D&C, and then we can start the medications over again. But, so that's where we're at. So we'll just have to start over. This journey has definitely taught me, what everybody else goes through that has issues getting pregnant or staying pregnant. With mine, it was perfect. And then with the last journey, beta levels always rose, appointments always went good, and there was no issues. And this time, there's been canceled cycles where my lining wasn't adding up, or I ovulated through medications, and beta numbers just not being on point, and now no heartbeat. So it definitely has shown me some of what people go through, and I mean that's a good thing, but obviously it sucks at the time because you have to go through that. It's a loss. And like I said, it's definitely a weird feeling because I didn't know how I've never been through a miscarriage. I've never dealt with that, so I didn't know how I would react. And it's definitely hard. And the people who have been through that with their own children, that just tears you up. I can't even imagine